Page 24. Those who know anything about Scottish legends know that the Loch Ness Monster is just another form taken by the water kelpie. Water kelpies are small, troll-like creatures that live in rivers, pools, and lochs. They are good to have as friends, but bad to have as enemies. They can change size and shape whenever they want. Sometimes they can take the form of a beautiful horse, which they tempt you to ride. But don't do it, because as soon as you get on its back, it will take you down into the loch. On pages 25 to 28, there is a story about an old woman, a water kelpie, and the Loch Ness Monster. Morag and the Monster, page 25. Morag MacLeod was an old woman who lived alone in a little house high up in the wild mountain country that rises from the north bank of the Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. Everybody thought she was a witch because of the strange things that happened to her. The strangest happening was the day she saw the Loch Ness Monster. It happened to be a very fine summer that year, and with the long, light evenings that you get up north in the summertime, Morag had plenty of time to sit by the little rock pool and talk to the kelpie, who often kept her company. One evening she was looking down at the Loch Ness sparkling in the valley. It is a big Loch Ness, and deep, so deep that they say there are parts of it where no diver could touch the bottom. Morag stood thinking of this, and suddenly she said, "Do you know, kelpie, some people swear they have seen the monster that is supposed to live in the loch. Yet here I am, I who have lived for 73 years within sight of the loch, and I have never once seen this monster. I think maybe it is their own imagination these people are seeing." "Then you are a fool," snapped the kelpie. "The monster, as you call this creature, was living in the loch before my time, and that is long enough, as I have told you." "How can you prove it is there?" she asked. "I'll show you," the kelpie shouted, jumping up in rage. "You be there, by the boat pier, at the loch side tomorrow." "I'll be there, kelpie," Morag said. She had just tricked the kelpie into saying just what she wanted him to say. Page 26. The next day was a Tuesday, which was very convenient, as that was the day the weekly bus ran from Abreachan to Inverness, and would take her to the loch side. So early in the morning she put some biscuits, cheese and milk in her basket, took her knitting, and set off down the glen for the bus stop half a mile away. There were 2 or 3 people waiting at the side of the road for the bus. They said good morning and began to talk about the fine dry summer it was. Then one of them said, "It is a strange thing to be seeing you go doon to the big Doon, Mistress MacLeod. I canna mind the last time you did that." "Och, it's so long ago, neither can I," said Morag. "But I am not going to Inverness at all this time. I am just going down to the loch to see the monster." Page 27. Everybody smiled, thinking she was making a joke, and somebody said, "It is a pity you cannot be sure of seeing it, and you taking all the bother of going down to the loch." "Oh, I am sure to see it," said Morag, who never saw any use in a lie when the truth would serve. "For I spoke to a wee kelpie who promised me it would be there today." A strange look came over the faces when she said that, and it was plain to see they thought she was out of her mind. When the bus came, they went abroad whispering to one another, and as it went down the hill collecting more passengers at every stop, the whisper went round the newcomers as well. Did you hear what the old woman said? She is going down to the loch to see the monster. A kelpie told her it would be there, she said. Aye, poor soul, she's daft." During the day, the story spread to shops and hotels, to the office of the tourist board and the bus station where holiday visitors were waiting to buy tickets for the bus tours. By the afternoon, all the buses offering tours round the loch were full, and people were hiring cars and bicycles and even making their way on foot, for every visitor to the Highlands wanted to see the Loch Ness Monster. Morag, meanwhile, had found a comfortable place to sit at the edge of the loch, and was enjoying her light meal and her knitting in the sunshine. There was a steady hum of people talking in whispers among themselves. As the sun swung round to the west, the waters of the loch took on a darker blue, and the setting sun laid a bright gold trail across it. It was in this path of sunlight that the monster appeared. A dark spot rose above the water. 3 more dark patches appeared in line with it. From the crowd there came a long sighing sound, and somewhere among them a child's voice shrieked, "The monster!" Morag sat watching it, entranced. It began to move in an easterly direction, making great waves, its head swaying and the humps behind it rising and falling, the way a snake's body does. Then it turned inshore and began to swim to where Morag was sitting. It came to within 30 yards of her. Page 28. The long neck, the short blonde head, the white mouth. Then the monster changed direction again and swam west along the edge of the loch. Then it dived. The crowd murmured with disappointment as the surface of the loch went blank again. Then they roared as the monster surfaced again 100 yards out. The head and one of the humps showed above the surface for a moment. Then they disappeared, and there was only dark blue water with the sunlight trail fading from it and the gulls dipping and gliding above it. "Well, I'm blessed," said Morag. "Well, I'm blessed. That kelpie is a remarkable creature, surely." She stood up, collected her knitting and her basket, and started to walk towards the road. There was terrible confusion all around her, and a great roar of talk as everybody tried to get to the road at once. A young man came leaping down to her. He had a camera above his shoulders and a notebook in his hand. "I'm from the Inverness Journal, Mistress MacLeod," he said breathlessly. "Will you give me a statement? How did you ken the monster would be there?" "Why, a kelpie told me, of course," Morag said calmly. "And now, if you'll excuse me, young man, I must be getting away. I see the bus is waiting at the corner." And away she went, as cool as she could be. Morag went down to the pool as usual that evening and found the kelpie waiting for her. "Did you see the monster then?" he asked. "I did," said Morag. "It was a remarkable sight, indeed it was." "Ha!" he boasted. "There's a thing you couldn't do. Bring the monster up like that just on the word of command." "Oh, but I'm just an ordinary old woman," she said, laughing. "Mark my words," said the kelpie. "You will not be just an ordinary old woman again." And he slipped back into the pool, leaving Morag wondering just what he had meant by that.